Hello guys, welcome once again. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use loops in Python, and I'm going to show you how you can use a while loop and for loop in Python. So these are two kinds of loop in Python you can use to iterate some values. So first of all, let's see what is a loop. A loop is a piece of code which help you to iterate or to repeat a piece of code again and again without rewriting the same piece of code again and again. So loop, as the name suggests, is a piece of code which will help you to write or implement some piece of code again and again unless and until some condition is true. So let's see how a while loop work in Python first. So for example, I have a variable called a which is equal to 0, and so let's see how while loop declaration works. So for declaring a while loop, you just need to write while, and then the condition comes which needs to be true if you want to go out of the loop. So for example, I want that if a is less than 5, then I want to implement this. Okay. So once again, I forgot the colon here. My loop has this colon. Okay. So I want that if a is less than 5, I want to loop the value of a. Okay. So I want to print a. Okay. And because this condition is never be true if I don't increment the value of a, so I'm going to increment the value of a like this. So a plus equal to 1. This is same as writing for example a is equal to a plus 1. This is same as this one, but you can write this in short like this, right? And I will just execute this while loop, and the result is 0 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so you haven't printed this 0 to 4 integers. You just have written this one line of code to print all these numbers. So while loop or loop help you to implement a piece of code or again and again, right? So what happens here? We have already declared a is equal to 0, and then your code goes here and it sees it's a while loop and it checks this condition a is less than 5, because a is 0 and 0 is less than 5, so it will print this 0 value here. Once again it goes to a while loop once again, and because I was increasing it by 1, now value of a becomes 1. So a is 1, which is less than 5, so it will print 1 here with this code, and it will increment a once again, and now a is 2 and 2 is less than 5, so once again it will print 2, and same is for 3. But as soon as 5 comes here and 5 is not less than 5, then it will not print 5, because this condition is false now, so it will go out of the loop. So this in this way this while loop works. Now let's see some real life example, or some practical example of while loop. So for example, I have this example where I have a is equal to 0 and s is equal to or a is equal to 1 and s is equal to 0, and I'm telling the user to enter some value. Okay, so enter number to add to the sum. Okay, and enter 0 to quit. Okay, so I'm telling user to enter some value so that I can make the sum, or otherwise if you want to quit, just enter 0. And then I'm checking whether a is equal to 0. If a is not equal to 0, then I'm going to take this value of s, and then I'm asking the user to enter a number, and then I will add this number to my sum. S stands for sum and A stands for a number, and then I will print the sum like this. Okay, so this is a little example which is more practical in real life situations, and I will run this, and now it will run. So I'm asking enter the number to add to the sum. If you enter 0, you will be quit, or you will quit the program, and current sum is 0. So for example, I enter 300. Okay, and now current sum becomes 300. Okay, and for example, I enter minus 2 or 340, then current sum becomes 40. Okay, so it will go on keeping the sum or making the sum plus 80, so it will add to this 80 once again, and then for example 120, it will add 120 to the sum. So this code will help us to make a sum of numbers which user will enter. But as soon as I enter 0, you see here, then the while loop is no more valid because this condition becomes false, and then user will exit. So when I press 0, the sum is 160, which is true, and while loop is ended and condition is false, and I'm out of the loop. Okay, so in this way you can use while loops. Now there is one more kind of loop in Python which are called for loop. And for example, I have a list called b is equal to, in the list I have 2 comma 4 5 some numbers. Okay, so I'm just taking some random numbers here, and for example I want to print all these numbers in the list but one by one. Okay, so what I can do, I can use a for loop. And for loop, how I can declare? With just this for, and then I will declare a variable which will hold the value of these elements one by one. Okay, so for example, a new m, this is defined by me. Okay, and what this does is this will hold the value of elements in the list one by one, and then write in this in operator. I have shown you how it works in the last video if you don't know, and then just write b, which is our list which contains these values. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, once again I forgot this colon. I somehow I keep on forgetting this colon, and then I will print num, because this num holds the value, well, holds the list value one by one. Okay, and I will just execute it, and you see my print function prints the values in the list one by one by one, right? So in this way you can use for loop and while loop, and both of the loop you can use interchangeably. So it's both loop works in the same way, but the while loop, the difference is in between while loop and for loop is, when you are using while loop, it it waits for the condition to be true, and it will keep on executing your code while your condition is true, right? And if condition is false, it will go out of the loop. And for loop, there is no condition. It will just list out the values you give here. Okay, so I hope you have understood the concept of loops in Python, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and bye for now.